Hello and welcome back to Coin Lady channel, where you can always find the most up-to-date and interesting XRP news. In this video, I'll describe why the SEC has so much less influence in the Bitcoin market. Furthermore, many people believe the SEC has the authority to outlaw cryptocurrencies by labeling them as stocks. In this film, I hope to provide evidence that this is not the case. Also, I'll show some shocking new evidence that Gary Gensler knew from the outset that XRP and other cryptocurrencies are not securities. Watch until the conclusion of the video because I also want to show you how valuable XRP is going to be and how it will shake up the financial system as we know it. As XRP competes in a massive market, of which I believe few are conscious, I also want to discuss the extent to which its price could increase. Gary Gensler recently expressed his opinion that almost all cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin are securities. Before we get started with this film, I want to address why the SEC is much less powerful than many people believe it to be. Since Gary Gensler asserts this to be the case, many individuals are acting in this manner. That's not how it works at all. I feel compelled to tell you how little sway Gary Gensler actually has in this matter. Although I vehemently disagree with Jake Stravinsky regarding cryptocurrencies, he does make some valid points, such as this one, where he suggests that Gary Gensler may have mistakenly assumed that all digital assets other than Bitcoin are securities. In any event, his ruling is not final until the SEC proves its case in court for each asset separately. And he implies that Gary Gensler's SEC doesn't have the power to enact legislation. Congress vests the SEC with its powers, but it has never been delegated the ability to pass cryptocurrency-related laws. By taking this precaution, Gensler will not be able to publicly state, "I declare that all cryptocurrencies are stocks." Gensler, Gary, the only course of action is to present proof, hope a judge agrees with him, and then take control of that single coin. What you just read about what happening with former AP. The SEC is presently making an effort to assert that XRP is a security, but they cannot do so without going through a judicial procedure and having the court back them up. It seems the court does not agree with the SEC, and this ruling could really cause them to lose control. However, it is essential to keep in mind that her opponent has the right to openly express his view that all cryptocurrencies are assets if he so chooses. Eric's response is meaningless, however, because only Congress has the power to create legislation. As we've seen, the fact that Gary guests are publicly labeling some coins as securities isn't evidence that the SEC agrees with that classification. It is much less significant than many would think. I retorted to Jake on Twitter that not only was it not the law, but it also predated the 16th amendment. Which is to say, Gary Gensler is completely speechless for an entire second. Each of the SEC's 5 members brings a unique perspective to the table. The more publicly Gary Gensler states his view that this coin is a security, the more convinced I am that he is correct. These are simply his personal opinions. Although SEC Commissioner Gary Gensler has stated openly that he considers all of these cryptocurrencies to be securities, his opinion does not reflect that of the SEC as a whole. Having heard your perspective, I feel more informed. Hester Peirce is just one of several who differ with you on your own commission. Therefore, his open declaration of these views is meaningless. Just his own subjective opinion. Not only does Congress not give him the power to do what he's proposing, but his own office disagrees with him as well. For this reason, it is essential to take into account the person who will most likely take charge and exert his authority in order to carry out these actions. He plans to make it seem like the SEC backs his position. However, the opposite is true. Gary Gensler is stating these assertions publicly in an attempt to have the business community take him at his word. He understands that he cannot make rules on his own. It's because of this that he hasn't been doing it. That he lied is something he is well cognizant of. Does not have the power to designate certain cryptocurrencies as stocks. This is the reason why he hasn't done it yet. Instead of negotiating with them, he must prosecute them. But he'll keep making malicious accusations in the hope that someone else will enter the library without knocking and say something, permitting the SEC to initiate a case accusing them of wrongdoing. At the end of the day, I think this proves that there is hope despite the SEC's harsh rhetoric and recent comments claiming that every cryptocurrency is a security. Contrary to popular belief, it's not the SEC. Solely Gary Gensler's perspective is presented here, and it is restricted. and all I'm trying to do is show how the SEC's stance has always been inconsistent. The evidence against Ripple that was given by documenting a few months ago is, in my view, quite damning. Prior to joining the SEC, Gary Gensler is currently on stage talking payment tokens. He also uses the term payment coins to describe cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and others. By calling them payment symbols, you're now essentially implying that they are not securities. They may or may not be financial contracts, depending on what Gary Gensler says. The most intriguing aspect of this, however, is that Eric delivered this address around the same time that Jay Clayton was working for the SEC. As a medium of exchange, he made a public proclamation that cryptocurrencies are not assets. Recently, Gary Gensler has been working for the SEC. He has made frequent references to Jake Lee and has claimed that Jay Clayton, who was in charge of the SEC at the time, made a ruling that all cryptocurrencies were not securities. Actually, you're wrong about that. Here is the proof that Jay Clayton is correct when he says that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies designed to replace sovereign currencies are not securities. Next up is Gary Gensler, who argues that XRP and other cryptocurrencies likely differ from investment contracts due to their practical applications. Therefore, the fact that both the outgoing and incoming SEC commissioners disagree with Gary Gensler's current comments proves that no words spoken by an SEC official carry any weight. These people come and go in and out of government, and their tenures tend to be short. No matter what they claim or make up, their opinions will shift every month. The laws established by the court and the laws passed by lawmakers are binding. The only thing that counts is the Commission's consensus. In the history of cryptocurrencies, nothing similar has occurred, and the closest we've come to legislation was Ripple's victory over the SEC in court. That's why I'm relieved Ripple has joined the complaint. In the absence of this, we might be stuck with a scenario in which dishonest politicians or Bitcoin maxers draft the laws determining the future status of XRP in the United States. Instead, a new court system is being introduced, and to be completely forthright, it can be rigged on occasion. Nevertheless, we were blessed with a brilliant jurist, and I'm confident that XRP will soon be given its due clarity. Those views won't come from people like Gary Gensler. Not maxers in Congress, who will contend that Bitcoin is different from all other currencies, but a court reviewing the evidence will rule that there is no investment contract with XRP. It's analogous to cryptocurrency in that it serves a purpose. You shouldn't consider it an expenditure. This movie needs to end so we can move on. I'd like to talk about the risks that XRP poses to the current monetary order. Due to the ongoing litigation, I'm aware that the SEC can take a tough position on cryptocurrencies on occasion. We get mired down in the rules and regulations that are in existence, even as the world undergoes a profound digital transformation. It's a huge break for us that the portion where money is being juggled is so early on. This has occurred with communication and transportation, and it will occur with monetary systems. Here we can see that the Fed wired $1 quadrillion in judgments last year. This is a great indicator of how little influence market capitalization has on these commodities at the present time. Complete monetary systems that rely solely on cryptocurrency and open ledger technology are a reality of the future. This total amount of money will raise the token market caps. The current market cap of XRP, which is only a few $100 billion, means that Redwire holds $1 quadrillion in value. This is merely one example of how XRP can be put to use. Payments can be made in fewer ways than this. That's how much money XRP will earn by causing havoc in the real estate industry. There will be widespread upheaval across the board in the financial services industry. It will create problems for a variety of financial networks. Building CBDCs on the XRP will have a domino effect on all other currencies. I hope this gives you a better idea of the potential monetary inflow into the XRP database. Some projected valuations for the stock market in the future are simply staggering. We're just getting started here. The entire set of regulations is being carried out. Individuals are trying to figure out what precautions need to be taken to make sure this system works as intended. But once we have these safeguards and the regulations in place, the money will start pouring in at a pace that most people can't even begin to fathom. I value your presence here nonetheless. I'm hoping this information was helpful to you. We'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and signed up for updates if you did. See you later, bye.